unable.
Stand, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Marion County Commission meeting for Monday, February 9th. Is there anybody in the public that would like to speak when the meeting starts?
Yes.
Right over here.
Okay.
Gotta take a comfy seat.
A little nicer than the little child statement.
Yeah.
My name's David Mueller. Live at 3441 Mustang, lifelong farmer and rancher, Marion County. The reason I'm here is to respond to Ann Smith's letter, the editor, sent by Commissioner Dirks to all county commissioners and planning and zoning commissioners. First, I'm not a widely known paid spokesman and representative for wind energy. Enel asked me to be the landowner liaison 2018 to 2019. And I took that job because I wanted the person taking that job to live in that area once construction was done. So I agreed. My job was to work with the landowners and make sure their concerns were fully addressed by the company. Otherwise, I received lease compensation on the same factors and rates as all my neighbors, including the former commissioner. My positive opinion of Diamond Vista is due solely to the direct benefits I've seen for my community and for my neighbors. The company has been responsive, generous, and a good neighbor. The pure definition of hypocrisy is saying a person that is neutral or has a favorable view of wind energy must be excluded, while members of No More Wind in Marion County are seated front and center. If being a recipient of wind lease income is a conflict of interest, then commissioners with oil or gas leases or stock should be considered conflict of interest, and Mr. Dirks, corporate agent for No More Big Wind Corporate LLC, should also be recused. So let's get to the point. I'm here because of the bullying, the intimidation, and the unethical behavior of Mr. Dirks. The harassment and treatment of Director Sharon Olmsted and Derek Belton is unwarranted and an embarrassment to Marion County. They are outstanding, intelligent, and ethical individuals whose only crime is following the law and regulations and not bending to the will of a bully. Sharon has defended and won 7 suits against Marion County. Not surprisingly, the people who are out to get her were the ones who sued Marion County and lost. Can anyone else smell the true corruption? I challenge commissioners to stand up to the hypocrisy, the bullying, and the true corruption. Get back to the business of Marion County. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Dave.
I want to respond to that. I'm going to respond to what he,
5 minutes.
pardon me?
For 5 minutes.
That's fine. You probably don't even need that much.
3 minutes, excuse me.
That's fine.
Go ahead, start.
Okay, so I'm Diane Novak. Now, he was referred to me as having leases from wind farms, and I do not. I don't own any land. I don't have any turbines. I never have. And I sent an email to Brad this week explaining everything to him, and I have my documents. I have a signed waiver from Diamond Vista saying that I have no interest. It's notarized, it's legal from my husband and from the wind farm, that I have no bones in that wind farm at all, and I don't get a dime. Also, as far as ethical, give me a break. When I was a county commissioner and I sat there and Diamond Vista was in the process, Susan Rosen, our counsel at the time, sent into the ethics committee about whether or not I could serve and vote. And I had the response letter from the ethics committee saying that no, it was definitely a conflict of interest because my husband had 2 wind towers on his property. Even though I did not, and I had no benefit from them, I had to recuse myself and I had to leave the room. I also have a copy of the minutes from that particular meeting to where I left the room. I did not participate in the discussions. I did not participate in the voting. So what David Mueller said is half truth. He doesn't even know what he's talking about. And to talk about me having wind farms, it only tells you how far out in outer space he is. I believe he also rented 2 buildings to the wind farm and gets money from them too. Pretty sure I'm right, but I will verify that. So when it comes to ethics, maybe we should clean our own back step first before we start criticizing others. I do have documents to show you if you want copies of these, Brad, because ethics is important. And I don't like to be singled out to do something that somebody else who is greater into it than I am and does make a huge profit gets better treatment. He needs to recuse himself for sure and leave the room.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All Britain Rural Florence. Since the windmills were turned on, Marion County has lost 2 lumber yards, 2 dollar stores, a hardware store, Wendy's, Donahue Manufacturing, and other small businesses. Nobody wants to live or move to Marion County. Now here's an excerpt from Commissioner Dirks from his comments from last October. How do we get to this point? Let's start with the Article 27 regulations. If you look back at the records, you will find that the wind attorneys were at the table and played a role in developing those regulations to ensure they could get their projects off the ground. During the development of the project, they were given a blanket authorization to utilize right-of-ways within the project area through Resolution 2019-05, an authority I feel is not held by the county. Road right-of-ways are typically owned by the adjoining landowner, and the right-of-way authorizes public transportation and utility transportation, or transportation and transmission. Our rural water systems are not even authorized to use right-of-ways. These right-of-ways in State Statute 789-5801 clearly excludes renewable energy as a public utility. As part of the last lawsuit, the Landman Review found the calculation of the protest petition boundaries were adjusted to invalidate the protest petition. Their analysis showed, I believe, that the protest petition was valid. Expedition Winds Communications indicate that they felt they had to adjust the boundaries of the project to avoid a protest petition, and that they needed the road right-of-ways to make the project successful. That's his statements. Now, Russ Uwe, consultant for Marion County, is not a lawyer and didn't have the authority to invalidate the protest petition. On behalf of Marion County landowners, I asked the county to have council review and address right-of-way authority and the protest petition validity. It is not an unreasonable request to expect transparency and accountability from the county. Thank you.
Thanks, Tom. Anything else?
Isn't that hard, really?
Okay, we'll proceed with business.
Agenda, noted we needed to
We need to
remove.
approve the agenda, and we need to add some and take some off.
So the families and communities together, I think, needed to be removed and
Yeah.
bumped to next week.
And then the county council job description and update will move to next week.
I mean, the executive session, yes.
Just the executive.
Yeah.
But is there any other executives that need to be entailed in that?
No, not today. I don't believe.
Anything to add?
I don't.
I make an addition to the agenda.
Okay.
Wind and large solar discussion.
And wind and solar discussion.
Lord sold.
Anything else? I'm gonna make a motion to approve the agenda as presented. Second by Ken, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Other than nothing? Administrative business.
First, we have the change orders. Next, we have the minutes of February 2nd.
Any additions or corrections to the minutes?
Motion to approve.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Nay. No against? Okay.
Okay, we have early checks in the amount of $21,673.79.
Any discussion?
Motion to approve $21,673.79.
Second by, all those in favor?
Aye.
5-0. I thought you could do that too.
And that's all I have, and I believe Tina is online.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I don't have any of my information in front of me at home.
Okay, do you want me to do the resolution?
Yeah, if you can just take care of the resolution and then the welder, that would be great.
Okay, so we have a resolution I printed off for you all. This is for the second grader rebuild that you approved. It's the same as we did a week or two ago, where we have the authorized personnel as Dave Crowfoot, chairman, Tina Spencer, and then I am to sign it. It is resolution 2026-07.
make a motion we approve resolution 2607.
One question. Brad, have you looked at that? Do you see an interest rate on that?
But I located, because I usually take note of that.
I believe it needs to be disclosed.
This is the interest-free financing,
Okay.
Oh,
the
that's why.
3-year.
Oh, okay.
Well, that's good.
That makes it zero.
Yeah.
I like that number.
Yeah.
Second,
I'll second.
Kent second. All in favor of approving this?
Aye.
I'll get that signed. I believe you guys were emailed the quotes.
And the purchase order.
Those are both quotes for a new welder.
Welder.
The one at the shop for Road and Bridge has bitten the dust, so we need a new one. And Tom Holland would like to go with the one from Airgas, which is also the lowest one, the lowest cost.
Yep, so Airgas is $4,650 and Lambton Welding Supply is $5,115.37.
Well, actually, that one from Lambton included sales tax, but the
Oh, it does.
quote itself was $4,693, if I remember right. So
Yes, you are right.
Gas is the cheaper of the two, so I was confused because it said purchase order on it, but it said quote on the top, so apparently it was not a. I'd make a motion to approve the purchase of a new Miller 225 welder and cart from Airgas in the amount of $4,650.
Second.
Second by Jonah. All in favor? Aye. 5-0.
Okay. And I believe that's it.
I have a question. Two Marion County road right-of-way and utility permits apparently for NL. Again, I'm gonna assert that the use of road right-of-way permits, which are utility right-of-way permits, are not valid for either of the wind farms in Marion County. In the development of these projects, they had an extensive road maintenance agreement that was developed, and anything those were designed for construction, maintenance, and decommissioning. I mean, that agreement was to encompass the entire life of the project. If these facilities were not included in that initial road maintenance agreement, then we need to modify the road agreement rather than issuing it a blank, just a willy-nilly a permit that, in my opinion, is just for utilities, not, these companies are not, I'm not saying we don't give them a permit, but we need to do it the right way and do it in conjunction with their existing road agreement. Again, it appears they're going to be bringing in a rather large crane to need that type of turning radius. So I would question, what actually are they doing? Are they removing blades? Are they removing gearboxes? And what are they actually doing? And will those activities, are everything they're gonna take out, are they gonna be, how do we know what they're doing? Are they gonna clean up? I just have a lot of concerns with major maintenance like that on a facility like that, and making sure that the residents the landowners are protected, as well as the residents of Marion County, so.
That would probably be Sheriff would be coordinating the information with the wind farm people.
I mean, this permit was applied for a month ago, and now we're just hearing about it. I mean, after a month.
What if they had these turnouts when they first did construction and we made them tear them out, so.
Yeah, it's my understanding that this is to replace some turning radii so they can do some work on the turbines, and that they would be on the same roads authorized in the right-of-way agreement. The reason it's coming to you later is because I was waiting for some sort of documentation of the payment of the permit cost, and it kind of got lost. We did have the payment initially, but I didn't receive the documentation immediately. So that's what I have on that right this moment.
So somebody is watching it then.
Then my point is, if this was part of their original road agreement, then we shouldn't have to write a permit.
Well, I was gonna ask if that ongoing maintenance isn't addressed in the road maintenance agreement somewhere.
We like to know what we like to know where they're gonna be and try to have them apply for a permit, and so that we can then go back and check things. So I've agreed before that this is maybe not exactly the right kind of permit, but we haven't had the opportunity to work with council to develop the appropriate type of permitting. And it's still better than not having any documentation or anything, any payment for these kind of items. So
Anything else? Any outside board reports?
Just that I will be attending the 2026 Kansas Pipeline Safety Program. They're having an event tomorrow in McPherson, and I'll be attending that.
Be good. Any other information? Everything else?
Tina, quick question for you. On the review discuss items, it says discuss used and new semi-purchase for a transfer station and their holiday schedule. Does that need to be done today or?
I think we're gonna, I talked to Josh and we're gonna do that next week.
Okay.
Ready for Lou, Kirk?
Yeah.
Department of Aging? There.
Social butterfly. It's around there somewhere.
She's not here. We're gonna call her.
Okay.
You wanna do something until then?
Yeah, move on to the Flint Hills since they're here. They don't have to be here all day that way.
Ready for us?
Okay, we'll talk about it. Apparently energy and data centers.
First of all, thank you for the opportunity of putting us on the agenda so that we could speak with you. I am Chuck Gakel, General Manager of Flint Hills Rural Electric Cooperative, and we serve the rural areas of Marion County. I have with me Travis Griffin, he is our Legal Service Manager, and I have also with me Kevin Noblet, who is the CEO of our power supplier in Topeka. That's who we buy our power from. He's here just in case there's power supply related questions that you might have on either topic. batteries or data centers. I've sent out some information, a page on, two-sided page on both battery and data center. Does that information make it out to you all? Okay. First, Flint Hills, I won't go through all that just because you guys can read and I don't wanna be redundant there, but our purposes for batteries are basically to address and expand our load management program that we do mostly in the summertime. Whenever we can control our summer demand, our summer peak demand, that lowers our cost of power, which that's an automatic pass-through to our members. We currently use diesel generations for some of that. We have limitations on how much diesel we can do. We have other methods of load control that we do as well that control water heaters and voluntary air conditioning, oil wells, those kind of things where people do that to get discounts on their bills. So that's what we would use batteries for would be an expansion of that program once it reaches a price point that allows us to be able to pass on benefits to our members. Some rural electric cooperatives already do that. Everybody's situation is going to be a little bit different. One cooperative that serves parts of northwest Marion County already does that in their service area.
That's DSNO, am I correct?
That is DSO, yes. So on the purposes of the moratorium, it mentions a couple of things there, the welfare of the county, and we are aligned with that. Our vision is to provide safe, reliable, and affordable power. And if batteries don't meet that for us, we have no incentive to do it. So, it is something that I do think we're aligned in that area. Currently, batteries at this level are safe and reliable, and I point out some things in that handout accordingly that go through the process of different third-party independent testing to make sure that batteries are safe. They have self-containment. They have sensors that determine when any component is starting to malfunction, where it can turn those components off and mitigate that risk. Impact on property owners was also mentioned in the moratorium, and we're not talking about a lot of batteries in the county. We're talking probably somewhere in 2 to 5 range, and battery, including its self-containment, is probably about the size of a small Frito-Lay truck. They're not huge land grabs. They're not a massive land issue in that respect. So our ask is that you consider, the purposes that we have, consider the safety that's been vetted out by the different organizations on this size of battery, which is, a utility type of product, much similar to our substation transformers, breakers, those kind of things that also go through safety and those kind of protections. So our ask really, is to add a sentence to the moratorium, basically that would exclude regulated electric utilities and rural electric cooperatives from the moratorium for the purposes of load management that I'd mentioned. And I'll read that sentence as well. Notwithstanding the foregoing provisions, nothing in this resolution shall be construed to prohibit the installation or operation of battery energy storage systems that are owned, leased, or rented or operated by a regulated electric utility, a rural electric cooperative, used solely for the local load management, grid reliability, or cost reductions for customers. And with that, I'd be open to any questions that any of the three of us can future that you might have.
Chuck, I thank you for calling me directly, Kent Becker. It was enlightening to me because all we've ever heard about are these large scale batteries that, you know, there's been issues with even in the area. And to know that there is that kind of technology of that size, you know, that fits you said fits your substation. Am I correct?
Well, they would be close to the substation, not necessarily inside the substation. We do have 2 substations in the county, and we have what we call 5 metering points. And a metering point basically is where Evergy might have a small substation and hand the power off to us, or it might just be a metering point and it gets handed off. And we currently have equipment at each of those locations like that. Our automatic meter reading systems come out of there. Our load control signals go through there that go to the different contactors, the different water heaters and those kind of things that are out there. And they're just a small fenced-in area right inside our right-of-way.
So we mentioned that DSNO is in Marion County. Do you know, do they have one located in Marion County yet?
I don't believe they have any in Marion County, but they have some in neighboring counties.
Is there any special training for our fire?
And we have done fire training with different counties' fire departments and would consider that here. But I know that in talking with DSO's manager, they did do some load control, did some battery training with their fire department in one of their counties.
I thank you for bringing that information to us because, you know, we need to be brought up to speed. You know, we're not comparing apples to oranges here. So I thank you for reaching out. So certainly helped my knowledge base.
What's your cost per kilowatt on these batteries? Because you're obviously doing a factor, right? I mean, when Southwest Power Pool goes up, that's when you're gonna kick them in, right?
We're gonna kick in when we are nearing a peak on a substation. And basically, it's not so much energy driven as it is demand driven. As I mentioned in the literature, you know, the August or July peak, it's whichever one's the higher, is about $100,000 expense to us per megawatt. And that's what we're trying to do is during those times, be able to run those, particularly in that 3 to 6 o'clock hour of hot afternoons, so that it keeps that demand low during that time.
So with that $100,000, you can basically offset the cost of these things.
Yeah, and it's we're basically to that point. I mean, some applications will work and some won't. Some stations aren't big enough. Some stations are the right size that we're getting to that point, yes.
So what does one of these 1 megawatt facilities cost?
We would, in the early, our first year or two out of the gate, we would probably just lease them from a battery company. And they would charge us so much to have them per month.
And they wouldn't charge you, they would charge us.
They would charge us.
Yeah. I mean,
which in turn charges you.
right.
And when the savings outweigh the cost, that's when we would pull the trigger.
How much, this is kind of a question for you, how much traditional power generation has been taken offline in Kansas in the last 10 years?
That's a good question. I don't know that I can answer that, but I know, I don't know if there's been any coal that's been retired. I know there's some old gas units that, the old Westar units have gone. Few hundred, that's just kind of ballparking it.
I mean, in your book,
Megawatts, I'm sorry.
your monthly publication, if I can find it again here, you talk about within the Southwest Power Pool, it's a balancing act of balancing generation with demand, and my guess is that the uptick in renewable energies has greatly complicated that because they're not reliable. They're not. You never know when they're gonna. I mean, the sun doesn't shine at night, so you're not getting anything out of solar. The wind doesn't blow at night most of the time.
That's fair.
You know, to me, it seems like you're complicating. Your job has gotten a whole lot harder with renewables, and so a lot of this, this load management, if the powers that be had, developed reliable energy sources, I'd venture to say 20 years ago, your load management was not near as complicated as it is today.
I think that's fair. I mean, renewables are called intermittent. I can't turn them on and off. They're either on or they're off. And the problem with electricity is there is no storage. You can do some pump storage, there's a few things, but without storage, it does make it more complicated on how you manage the grid. So putting batteries in, and a lot of times you will see batteries paired with renewable resources to do that exact very thing. If they're producing, but there's not enough load out there, you charge a battery. When they're not producing at night, like you said, when you need it, you can just charge the battery. So they're becoming more and more prevalent.
I just, I would have to see the cost analysis as a consumer. I would imagine one of these 1 megawatt trailer systems, that's got to be a several $1 million investment.
It may be, but as long as they're renting it to me at a level that what I'm paying is less than what the reduction is in power, then it's a savings to you.
What happens when one of these turns over going down the road?
If it's leased, it's not, it's
Hate to
not
say
my
it that way.
responsibility.
It's not your responsibility, but it impacts all of us in the county when one of these things. I mean, we may not pay for it financially, but my question is, what happens? I know that, when this is decommissioned, everything in there is a hazardous material.
Fair question.
So what happens to that? If it rolls over on the highway coming into Marion County, what happens then? Just some of my concerns. Harvey County just passed the same moratorium, and Flint Hills never. You guys serve, I think, 700 or so customers in Harvey County, if I remember your website correctly.
We do serve in part of Harvey County.
Harvey County, you had no concerns with them issuing these moratoriums.
Yeah, I wasn't aware of it. I wasn't aware of it.
I will say that, you reached out to Mr. Becker and Mr. Crowfoot, but you never reached out to me. I don't know, did they talk to you, Jonah?
Yeah, I talked to him in Vegas, so.
I called as many as I could before that first meeting. In fact, I was on the phone late that morning when I was in meetings in Topeka, and I just didn't get down to yours. You're listed at the bottom of that list, and I didn't get to you. I apologize, but hopefully the information I gave to you was the same as the information that everybody else received.
On these units, once you get one, don't you leave it stationary? You don't move it around to different locations?
Yeah, it stays there. I know there's,
Doesn't have wheels, but
yeah, like with our rented diesel units, they bring them out at the end of the summer, they take them back and they rent them somewhere else. And that's likely how these batteries will work, for us, that they'll bring them and, set them up, and then, when the summer's over, they'll take them somewhere else. If we end up owning some someday, then that's a whole different ballgame that we have to explore that if we looked into it.
Which end of your scope has the most demand that you would utilize these to balance that the best? Is there one area closer to town, rural setting?
No, I mean,
Yes and no, there's two of them right outside of Salina's city limits, I think is where they're based, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah, for us, we have 7 substations / metering points in our county. They would likely be located very near those substations, like probably just feet away from them. That's how we've done some of our.
I'm just wondering what geographical is these substations that would be the most likely that you would need these?
Probably at the 2 substations. We have one by Durham and one by Gossel. Those would be the most likely to start out with. Then probably Marion and Hillsborough would be the next that would make the most sense.
At this point, if I wasn't misunderstood, 2 is maybe what you're gonna start with. Is that correct?
What's that?
To use 2 of these to start with and then make sure that works out to your expectations?
Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised if one's in Marion County and one's not. I mean, it might be somewhere else on our system. It'd just be the locations that would best utilize the battery to reduce the demand during most likely that 3-hour peak that I talked about between 3 and 6.
You talked about those cities. Would it be within the city?
No, they're both roughly a mile south of town.
I think the ones that we're talking about are within a mile or 2. They're outside the city limits, I believe.
They would be outside the city limits, yeah. All of them.
do those type of units require conditional use?
At this point, they do. We don't really have anything that exempts them. We also don't have, I have to check with Sharon, but in looking at those previously, we don't have any real, on-point regulation about them either. It's just kind of imputed from some of the other things we have in place.
you have the addition into a moratorium would cover your family of batteries, the size and everything,
The size, you could
descriptions.
do something that would deal with, a megawatt or 2 discharge. There's a little difference between the amount of storage in them and the discharge. So typically what we would look at would be a 1 megawatt capacity discharge that would be capable of going for 4 hours at its maximum. So 1 hour of demand capacity, 1 megawatt of demand capacity that it could discharge.
It'd be a 4 megawatt
4
storage.
megawatt energy, so it could go for.
So I was gonna say, some of the high-end electric cars, they're running 5 hours at 200 kW. So they're running basically a meg of storage. So an electric car is a megawatt. So I'm glad you made the distinction on discharge.
Yeah.
'Cause I was thinking your numbers were low.
Yeah, so that, it'd be somewhere in that 1 to 2 megawatt discharge that we would be looking at.
That would cover cover us for until we get the rules written up,
Yeah, I would say,
planning and zoning.
I would say a 2 megawatt demand discharge would cover that.
Joe's an electrician, so he understands all that.
Most of it. I don't claim to know everything.
We know enough to be dangerous.
Well, I'm actually on a project that's dealing with a BESS system now, so it's not this big. It's small commercial, but
Deals with the same parameters, intake and output.
I'm sorry.
Commenting on his
Yeah.
smaller deals.
Oh, okay.
On input or
it's relevant, just not the same scale.
Yeah. And I don't know that those are in containment either, are they?
Yeah, so there's,
They are.
but it won't be on wheels. It'll be more of a short, Connex.
So we had Brad work with them to get the correct wording, add to the moratorium that we got now. And we don't have one yet, we got one proposed.
The other thing, Brad, is, and I didn't really even think about them on wheels. I was always thinking skids, they're gonna sit there permanently. So how do we have to start doing CUPs for towable generators now?
You have to set up in terms of what we put together, in terms of that moratorium, how long, if you're gonna have something that's mobile that goes in and can be taken right back out again, what our time frame? I mean, it's only there for a week, it doesn't meet the standard, or if it, you know what I'm saying?
Right. I mean, even like in the NEC, we have a 90-day provision. You could basically do almost anything and then make sure we make it right within 90 days.
Are they all on wheels or some of them on skids?
I'm not sure I can answer that, I don't know.
I would say who you're talking to, they're probably all on wheels because they're leased.
You know, that's-
But I'm sure you can get them off wheels and they can be a permanent structure as well.
So probably if they're bought, they would be, not on wheels.
Do we know what the methodology for the use is? If they're on wheels, do they have any kind of stabilization? We get enough wind in this area. I don't know how heavy those things are. I don't know. I've been dealing with one that was gonna be permanent in nature and in, a specific location of full BESS. The ones on wheels have never touched or been involved with in any way.
Use trailer house tie downs.
No, I'm just asking.
Something more than that.
And you can maybe, I don't know if you can see it in those pictures, but there are pictures, on the trailers, they're stable. Just like
Stabilizers.
Just like you would do a bucket truck and
Yeah,
stabilize.
that's what I was envisioning. Okay.
Outriggers.
Yeah. I don't know if that picture shows it, but there was pictures that did.
Any other questions?
These units, they just deal with peak demand though. They don't really deal with keeping power up in an outage or anything.
These, at this level, would not be designed for that. Now, if at some point it made sense to buy them, then, and it's a little harder to justify buying them because these guys that rent them can move them around to different parts of the country where it makes sense, different climates. But if it ever did, then they would probably be not on wheels if we bought them.
He's asking if you would, do they work like a UPS in your system? Do they cover the blinks? Do they,
Yeah, they do some conditioning while they're on there. It's just, that's only when we would have them.
right, during the summers?
Yeah.
But they would actually keep you from having blinks or brownouts or?
Yeah, I can't guarantee blinks because they can happen further down the line too. If breaker blinks or something like that.
But from that point.
Yeah, I think they would help with that at that point.
In your notes, how many customers you have in Marion County?
that we have in Marion County.
I've seen something,
2,000, I think.
I was in the.
I'm guessing it's at least that many.
That would probably be on the high end.
We're talking about a system that generates power for everybody but basically cities.
Yeah, that's probably pretty close, actually. We have 6,600 total in parts of 11 counties. In Marion County, we serve Marion, Morris, and Geary County. In Chase County, we serve quite a bit of land mass in those counties.
I guess, I know what you read in and what you'd like to have in the moratorium, but I would prefer to see something on the discharge that you were talking about and making that a smaller scale that isn't included. Just for the sole fact, I don't really want a commercialized industry to come in and, buy out a cooperative, and now all of a sudden we can set up these huge things because we got an exemption because we're a REC. You know what I mean? I playing games and then working their angles and that kind of thing. So if we could set limitations on that would benefit people in Marion County without allowing a loophole for major commercial industries to come in here and overrun us.
Yeah, I just realized the management and board don't have the authority to just sell the co-op.
We're stuck with you.
I think we'd be doing a disservice to the rural customers in Marion County if we tried to hamstring Flint Hills on that type of security for their system.
They're looking to the future, you know, trying to protect the future.
Future's right now.
I would hope you would look at it as you would us handling substation transformers and breakers and regulators and those kind of things, which, Mr. Dirk's point, we try to make sure that we don't tip over a truck that's hauling a substation transformer.
I'm just, don't get me wrong, I'm not against the REC trying to do what's best for the people. I just, a lot of the issue is almost self-inflicted. But I want to make sure that it's safe and that it's cost effective. I mean, I'm a member. I've been with Flint Hills REC for 10 years. I appreciate everything you do. My power bills have not gone down ever. And when I look at this trailer, I figure that's a multi-million-dollar trailer. And for a company to lease it, I guess I'd like the customers of Flint Hills REC to have the opportunity to get the cost benefit analysis and see what it's costing and ensure that they're getting the best bang for their buck.
And you do through your elected board. I mean, they do see these kind of decisions. They do have the authority to say yea or nay to those.
Well, we've seen with this board, their authority has got us wind farms that the majority of the people in this county didn't want. So.
We're staying on subject.
We'll wait that later, but I guess I don't have an issue with carving out small
Best
best systems,
for,
but I don't wanna just,
With the size, the top end and the bottom end,
yeah, cause
description.
if somebody needs to bring in something commercially to actually, to profit as an industry off these things, they would have to have way more than this. But, I don't disagree with Clark, I've seen it myself, your job has not gotten any easier with the renewables. What I do know is, before a lot of plants started coming offline, I was at the city council and I was on part of the Southwest Power Pool. And even at that point, we were looking at buying natural gas generators to set in places because the grid would get stressed. And then we were buying from wherever out east to make up for that. And then it got passed off to you guys, and then from you guys, it has to go down to the customer at some point. So there was always an issue. Batteries, the greatest thing in the world, I don't know, I don't think so, but, you know, I understand. We have other problems coming that we can't control. Even if we do put a moratorium on any data centers or anything like that, or completely ban them, it doesn't mean they're not going in somewhere else. And when you can pull as much power as the city of Milwaukee, you better start making plans to cover yourself. So that's the way I see it.
And, you know, we kind of talked about batteries and renewables. What Flint Hills is going to be using its batteries for has really nothing to do with renewables.
Right.
If there was not a wind farm or a solar farm out there, he would still have a business proposition to cut demand. So this is very, very different than what the big, large ones are typically going in for. So I just wanted to make that clear.
and I understand that, and my intention is not to ever stop you from doing what's economically feasible for your customers. What I am saying with this moratorium is we need time to flesh this out and figure out all those break points and what is and what isn't appropriate for Marion County. I mean, we've got municipalities in this county with industrial parks that if they wanted to put a commercial battery storage facility in, we have no jurisdiction and we can't stop that. So I appreciate you guys coming in and kind of letting us hear what you got to say. Like I say, I don't have an issue with carving out, but we need to be careful with how we do that to make sure that we're not.
We don't want to shut everybody out. I want to make it possible for them to keep doing business and working to save the customers money in the long run.
Yeah.
This is a long-term project they're trying.
And all this moratorium is designed to do is give us time to make sure that we've got all our ducks in a row. It's,
How soon would you be wanting to move forward with something like this?
Summer's coming.
Summer?
Yeah, the earliest would be this summer, and I think the most likely scenario will be next summer.
So
in essence, this moratorium,
if it was a year, and that pigeonholes them to not be able to pull the trigger this summer if you had the opportunity to do so.
I think with your description that you.
Sorry?
Description that you just read, about different sizes and the verbiage. You put that on a moratorium.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
mean, I have to see it in writing.
I don't,
I would ask you, Brad,
Let's look at it.
if we have a moratorium and we, all of a sudden, we carve out one exemption and somebody else comes in, wants an exemption, and legally, I think that puts us in jeopardy.
The equitable administration of it is always the challenge, at least it not many times is the challenge. If you go ahead and begin to, I'm not saying you can't do it, but it needs to be a fairly broad-based, across-the-board type of application. We talked about last time saying, well, anything under a certain capacity.
That's what he was.
And if you do that, that's uniform in nature and generally survives challenge. If we say, well, but if you're using a different type of source, for this, and we're gonna allow that, but not certain other things, then you start to get to that point quickly, where someone can come in and say, mine is no less dangerous or no less whatever you than what you've exempted. So therefore, we need to expand what we're authorized to do.
If you're asking for a size, I would say the 2 megawatt demand would be
Discharge,
yeah, at any point.
which would be 10, well, basically a 10 meg storage.
Probably 8.
Everything I was picking up on, it had to be 10 plus in order for them to even want to come set up a site to have a business model for batteries. It was more of a 30 to 100 megs, but 10 was a pretty safe number.
Can you answer whether or not the city of Hillsborough is still trying to generate their own power, or is they given that?
I do not know that.
He takes his power from West Star and runs.
I mean, if we're talking about something that could be within a different county, but still within your realm, if the city of Harrington is still running their own power system, and they may have given that up here recently.
Yeah, I can't answer that. You're right. They used to have their own diesel generators as well. Then that's changed, but I don't know what the status is.
And really, maybe if that's in Dickinson County, it doesn't pertain to what we would do here either, so.
Harrington has made some modifications to it. It's no longer a standalone. They do still have that big cat generator that looks very much like that. It's bigger and it's not on wheels. It's basically on the ground, but it's removable. And that's just for,
Thinking they
and what they're
changed.
doing right now, as I understand it, with, I lose track over there, Evergy, whomever, at the point where during the summer you end up with that peak demand, there is an agreement for them to fire that thing up. That is expensive electricity. But it does at least provide so that you won't have the brownout problem with somebody without air conditioning.
To keep the grid alive, I guess, is what. That's what I was thinking, but.
Everything got enough information for Brad to launch something. And we can keep talking.
Yeah.
With this circling
Um,
and what ifs.
I'm good with adding the 10 megawatt storage and 2 megawatt discharge.
Other way around, isn't it?
2 megawatt discharge,
It's 2 megawatt discharge. I got it turned
10
around.
megawatt storage.
Yeah.
It could be 8, I guess, but 10. 10 would allow you to run for 5.
We'd appreciate that.
Appreciate you taking the time to come down and all the phone calls you made. Information.
Is everybody else okay with that? I just said my.
I think that's as good as we can make it.
I'd be good with that.
Okay.
If something comes up that we need to change somewhere down the road, then it'll have to be addressed then.
The advantage you have with moratorium, it's very flexible
Well, you can cancel it at any time.
and modify it at any time.
If there's not any other questions on the battery energy storage, do you want me to continue with the data center?
What you see, yeah.
What we see?
I'd like that. I'll take professional insight.
And I'll try to look at it from Flint Hills perspective, Flint Hills REA's perspective, and how it impacts that, and try to stay mostly focused there. The moratorium does mention public health, safety, and welfare, and property how it affects property, and those are very important topics, and so I certainly understand, wanting to protect that. Flint Hill's purposes of really talking today, we feel that the moratorium length is too long. More like 90 days, and we feel it's too broad. We feel it's picking up some potential small businesses that maybe are not intended to be in the moratorium, and I'll touch on that here in a little bit. But the main thing for Flint Hills is growth. We just don't have growth of any magnitude. In fact, we lost customers last year, and as you know, rural areas, that's not uncommon to have that challenge. That's not true of all co-ops. You get close to some of the bigger towns, Salina and Manhattan, Kansas City, Wichita. Growth is helping them, and how it helps them is they've got a broader base of customers to spread their fixed costs on. So we've got a certain amount of fixed costs that we have, just in administrative and substations, those kind of things. And if we're able to have more customers, more kilowatt hours to spread those fixed costs of that substation over more, obviously that helps prices that we pass on to in this case, the residents of Marion County. We also, this would be deviating a little bit from the Hills needs, but we also feel it's important for the county to have growth and to have these small businesses come in, and that gives you a wider tax base to work with, same way that it is with Flint Hills. You've got a certain amount of fixed costs that the more your base is to spread that to, the better that you can keep those costs down. The moratorium seems to include a lot of businesses in technology. Basically, if they're doing data processing or data storage, as the first part of that moratorium says, they fit under that blanket. It gives a list of them as examples. And for instance, data routing being one of those pieces. If you have somebody want to come in and expand in fiber or something like that, they're most likely going to have to put up a little shack to house their equipment in. And I would sure hate from our perspective, we feel that the good internet out there helps keep people in rural areas, benefits Flint Hills in that way, but I think it also benefits the county and the people, the welfare of the people to have that. So
Helps sales tax too.
it does. I mean, that's very true. When you get to the data center, there are some state exemptions for that, but there's not. That's up to you guys on the county end.
It's meant for customers
Property taxes.
purchasing online and having it shipped here. Now with the rules changed, we get the sales tax.
Yes, you get the sales tax, and from a property tax perspective, if you get businesses in, that's, more to help your tax base out in that area as well. My feeling is if it is truly the mega data centers that you're concerned about, that, I would prefer there be no moratorium, but if there is, again, to have it short. Sedgwick County put 90 days in theirs when they did theirs. But to have it short or have it limited on size again. If land is the driver that the commission's concerned about, set it on an acreage level. But I just hate to see this opportunity for growth didn't come along very often. And these data centers are looking for places that they can go. And if they have resistance, they'll go to the next place. And I just hate to see that get shut down in the early phases of it, they move on and then that opportunity's not there. And then again, I'd hate to see it for small businesses that maybe that's not the target, but they're falling under that definition that's gonna prevent them from expanding or doing business in Marion County. Travis, anything I missed there?
No, I don't think so. It is our concern about the sizing, that, we have businesses that, whether they come or not, but will not be a huge data center. We know fiber, we looked at fiber at one time as far as the cooperative, but, rural internet's a big issue. And we feel that the moratorium you have to have a head-in for fiber to push the light through the fiber and the internet. Well, those store servers, they're not huge, may not even be as big as this room. But the way we understand it, that would eliminate that. So then that would eliminate rural internet, high-speed rural internet.
So like Ideal Tech has a data center. They're brand new to town.
Yeah,
All of them have a technical data center. All of them.
any internet provider would have what they call we call it a head-in.
Yeah.
But they all have that. That's how they operate. So we just hate to see our members be punished for, I wouldn't say punished, but you know what I mean.
My main concern with the data centers is power. But we do need to put forward a moratorium, and maybe it's like the best, we set a limitation on the power, so that way these guys are down below that and they're fine. But if we don't do the moratorium, it won't trigger planning and zoning to create rules that govern these things. So it's kind of a trigger that we need to do. That's the way I interpret it, so. Brad, because I'm making sure I'm not.
That's correct. The one that we have was intentionally done to be catch it all. And I don't disagree. The more time I spend talking to different other jurisdictions in other states that are further ahead with this than we are, and they're like, oh, but there's this, and yeah, but, and this one was drawn in such a way that it's a broad net. It catches everything. And then we just took it as a one to take a look at. But it can certainly be narrowed down, or we can do some exemptions to it.
What concerns you said power, just concerns on the power issue, I guess I'm curious.
Well,
I'll chime in too.
you said that we have issues with peak demand. We know that these data centers, they run 24/7. There's no peak. They run 24/7, and you're sitting here saying that we have issues with power generation for this co-op, and now you're going to add. I mean, where's that power going to come from?
So at KEPCO, we've got 17 distribution cooperatives. So we've got 17 chucks, and we've talked to data center developers. We've talked to.
Have any of them talked to you and want to come to Marion County?
As of today, the answer is no. That doesn't mean they won't call us tomorrow, because it literally, we get inquiries. It used to be weekly, maybe it's now monthly, but we still get inquiries. Our list is still growing, but none of them are looking at here right now. We work with the Southwest Power Pool, and what I can tell you is data centers are coming. That's just a fact. Now, I can't tell you when, and I can't tell you where. I can also tell you on the power, there will be pressure on transmission prices. They will go up. There will be pressure on generation prices. They will go up. There will be pressure on the wholesale market, supply and demand.
And yet,
But whether that data center is here, whether that data center is anywhere in the state of Kansas, whether that data center is in Oklahoma or Nebraska, you're probably going to feel the same pressures. your prices are gonna set regardless. So putting a moratorium here, which is fine, I'm not saying data centers for everything, that is for this community to decide whether you want them or not. But what you do by not putting them here or having the opportunity to, is you would lose the benefits that would come from them.
Well,
That's for you guys to decide the benefits versus.
the state's already given them a 20-year tax abatement, so I can tell you, we're not gonna get any property taxes off of them.
Well, it depends on the size. I mean, we've talked to, the couple that we're talking to a little more seriously are very, very large. Very large. They're talking about 200 to 250 jobs, because they're big. You may not want something that big, I get it. With that, there's infrastructure upgrades that they will pay for, which Chuck could get a new substation, and that means better reliability for the community, really at no cost. We will not do a deal without margin in it. Chuck won't do a deal without margin in it. We're not for profit. Anything that can be made on those would go back to the existing members somehow to keep rates down. So I'm not saying they're for everybody, they're probably not, and that's okay. But you do have to look at what benefits versus, what is the downside of having them. And I feel very, very strongly they're still coming. And I don't know even if you did have a moratorium, I can't tell you you're gonna have one knocking on your door. You may or you may not. The question is, if one wanted to come here, would you want to talk to them to see what benefits there were for your community? That's what I would ask you.
I think we would want to talk to them,
Which I think gets back to Chuck, if you put a 3-year moratorium in, I think the probability of someone coming to talk to you is almost zero. Because it's a race to see how quick they can get things in. I mean, you've got Amazon's competing with Google, competing with Microsoft to see who can go first. And they're gonna go to the path of least resistance, at least for a while. I think that's good.
What's the water usage issue
I
right
would
now?
say that
Right now, we wouldn't have water.
Water,
But I know the technology's changing on all that.
yeah, the water issue is getting better on them. They can actually self-store their own ponds and
Well, I will tell you that
they're actually getting a lot better.
the state of Kansas is looking to put laws in place that you have to do what's called closed loop cooling, which helps. I don't know if they're gonna get something passed or not. That would be something I think you could certainly look at from a county standpoint, is you could beat the state and say, well, if you're gonna build one here, it has to have closed loop cooling, which reduces the water.
And that, the only,
Also give you, go ahead.
the purpose of this moratorium is to give us time to do that. It's, and, if somebody says, you've got a moratorium, we're not gonna come here, so be it. The people of this county deserve to have their rights protected and make sure that we're doing what's best for the county, versus Amazon coming in here saying, well, this is what we're gonna do, and you're gonna like it, because you don't have any rules, we're gonna make the rules. So, the purpose of this moratorium, if it results in some mega center not coming here, I would rather have that than have some mega center come here and do something that's not right for Marion County.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And I know you guys know your business better than I do. Just from my perspective, keeping that moratorium short when you have the ability to modify it, make amendments to it, that you keep it, a short distance, so it's a short time frame, so it's not just gonna turn people away.
You need to build up a tax base, like you said, they're gonna hire people. Somebody might even move here in housing. And if you had a small data center, you create traffic and people coming and going, just revenue. And if we're not gonna create revenue, we have to create taxes in. There's a property tax.
Yeah, having that bigger base.
Well, I do appreciate you bringing up the fact that I didn't even think about the small data centers and it is sweeping. We already have some facilities that I wouldn't call a data center, but they actually would fall into this data center. So, I mean, I'm grateful for that pointed that out, because the last thing I want to do is sweep them up into something that they were never intended to be part of.
Unintended consequences.
Association.
We do need to have some kind of moratorium though, because we do need to have the rules written. And I don't know what exemptions, as of right now, where to set that. I mean, I got studied up on the best systems. I need a little bit more time.
You need another week?
Well, luckily I had a little head start on the best systems, but not to that scale.
Spent a week in Las Vegas studying.
I couldn't study the data centers from that point. I do know of a very valuable resource that we do have within the county that can help me on this, so.
Okay, any other questions that any of the three of us can answer?
Asked them all twice now so far.
I-
You get a copy of that, what, your suggestion for the,
In your packet.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, in the packet is,
You got the
if you wanted it by size, I mean, I do feel the term is long.
Yeah.
My first, I mean, I know you guys gotta do what you gotta do, I'd prefer there not be one, but I know you gotta do what you gotta do. And my ask there would be that you limit it, if you're concerned about the mega data centers, limit it till you can get them figured out and allow other businesses to not be excluded.
thank you, I'll let you get back to work.
Thank you.
There again, there are ample
Enjoy the nice
there
weather.
are ample opportunities for those small businesses to come to Marion County and utilize the existing industrial parks within the incorporated cities of this county. So I don't feel that this moratorium precludes anybody from coming to this county and exploring, creating job opportunities. So I just wanna clarify that this moratorium only applies to the rural unincorporated portions of Marion County. And there are ample opportunities for these businesses to come to Marion County and utilize the existing industrial parks, which is where those facilities should be going, in my opinion. They should not be going into the unincorporated rural portions of Marion County. Now, if you don't service those, I'm sorry for that, that takes business away from you, but that's my personal opinion. That's where they're suited to go, and we are not stopping them from coming to those industrial parks in our incorporated cities.
That's a very, very, very good point.
But I would add to that a little bit, you're correct, but, when it comes to internet, they don't have a choice. They gotta go where the fiber in their head ends at. And typically that's in the middle of the county, not in an industrial park. So that umbrella still would apply to them, so.
Yeah, they either have to have a backbone or they have to build one in.
Right, and they have to go to the backbone, not the backbone coming to wherever they want it, so.
But he does make a good point though, I mean.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Cities is where they should be going, but.
Well, I appreciate you guys letting me speak. I appreciate, the feedback that you've given and, but I'm here to represent my members and they're in your unincorporated areas, so that's my reason for being here and being a proponent for them.
Thank you for educating us. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Be safe on the way home.
Excuse me.
Yeah, I imagine it is.
What was she coming for now?
I thought I was supposed to be here at 1. I apologize. It's close.
You're on the right day.
Yeah, it is the right day. Okay.
You had the floor.
Lou Turk, Department of Aging, just doing my quarterly update. Right now, we're in the middle of tax season, so I'm doing taxes through VITA, which is volunteer income tax assistance. So I'm out of Harvey County / Marion, and then I'm also actually underneath Sedgwick County because of training issues with Harvey County. So we're in the middle of that. I've probably done 20 taxes so far. Majority of the taxes that I do is homestead, which is a tax relief program for seniors. So doing that, we just finished up, we're also in the middle of Medicare Advantage sign-up enrollments. I refer people out to the experts on Medicare Advantage. I do show them the pros and cons of Medicare Advantage. Let's see here. I'm not taking the credit for our beautiful carport. We got the carport through a grant out of, it would be Harvey, Marion County. I don't remember the name of the, anybody that was a 501c3 was able to apply for this grant. So $50,000 were available to each entity in Marion or Harvey County. And so all of our senior centers applied for it. I applied for it through the Senior Citizens of Marion County, Inc. And when I applied for it for a carport for our vans. And I was able to actually get it. I applied for $17,000, and I actually got it for, I'm gonna round it to $9,000 through Eagle Carport out of Wichita. So, but it was built per the gentleman that came out and measured. He measured and said this is what we needed, so we took his word on it. And it's actually too tall. So I had to order 3 more panels for each side, which is another $1,500 for them to come in. So eventually it'll be enclosed, except for the front end and the back end. So we got that one. The Marion Senior Center is, they got their stove replaced, they're replacing their refrigerator. A lot of expenses needed to be done. There is an issue that the Senior Citizen Board is facing, and that is increase of taxes or insurance on the centers. Now, Marion's is under Marion Senior Center only has liability insurance. Full coverage insurance is over $7,000. So they brought this up to me last time. So they continue to only have liability. Peabody and Hillsborough both have full coverage. Something ever happens to Marion's, we're kind of in trouble because that liability is not even going to touch what the replacement of that building is going to be. So they are looking for funding to help with the liability. So they're coming to me, our next board meeting, Marion Senior Center, they're going to put in a mill levy for the full cost of the liability insurance, which I know at one time we talked about insurance should not be part of the mill levy request, because that's every year they should be budgeting for that. But they're going to continue to ask for the mill levy funding for their insurance. But again, like I said, it's only liability. So just putting that out there. Linnell's been helping with making sure that the centers are in compliance with the tax 501c3s and I forgot the other one. So every other year we have to make sure that part of the tax, I don't understand the full gamut of it, but she would be better at explaining that. I'm trying to read, we've got commodities we will be getting commodities this coming Wednesday. So, and it's a week early, so we're hoping we're gonna be back on track with commodities because I know they've skipped a month and then made up for it, so it's just ongoing. So like Jane at the food bank said, there's nobody in Marion County should be going hungry because we have enough food in Marion County to feed all of our people. I do plan on, I just don't know when, but I will put it in writing. I do plan on doing a couple retirement classes this year. My thing is, we need to start teaching people about retirement long before they're 60. Honestly, and I did talk to Taper, their social work program, and we need to look at, starting even college level. It's not a piece of cake. People think, oh, retirement, I'm ready for it. You're not going to be ready for it this way because it costs an arm and a leg, and people don't understand that. And we just need to educate them a lot earlier. So, any questions for me?
Back to the insurance, Lou, have they looked just at what they call a fire and extended coverage policy? All that would do would be just to cover the building, wouldn't be any contents or anything like that. They might, and maybe that's what they did, but I know that's less money because you're not insuring any kind of contents or anything in there.
Well, even if they had that.
And I'm not saying it'd be cheap, it'll be expensive too, but
Right.
it'd be less than maybe what.
Full coverage, yeah.
Right.
To be honest, the building's what would break us to rebuild.
Exactly.
The big thing you need to cover is the building.
Exactly, right, and that's what I say.
Yeah.
And it scares me because it's an old building. I mean, it's been since '82, but they're slowly.
To replace a building like that would be a.
Yeah.
$600,000-700,000.
Well, and they put so much money into the kitchen. They've had it remodeled, and they've got all these new pieces of equipment in there. I'm going, dang, if they would just realize, to me it's serious, but I don't control the purse strings there, so.
I'll agree with you on the retirement thing.
Yes.
I got to watch somebody, I won't call anybody out here, that went through last year, and it was serious frustrations, day in and day out.
Yeah.
So,
And people were just floored. They don't understand, Social Security, Medicare are actually tied together. You have to do the Social Security part before you even think about retirement. So one talks to the other, and people are going, why do we need to talk to Social Security? It's Medicare. I said, no, trust me, this is the way we have to go. And most of it is done online. And there's so many people that want nothing to do with the computers.
Then on the Medicare stuff too, there was talk about if you didn't sign things up correctly.
That's right. You're gonna pay the penalty.
Yeah, you basically lose out, and
Yes.
then if you don't stay on top of it, you lose it and you never get back in it.
Yeah. Well, that's not necessarily that can be fixed.
Okay.
That can be fixed.
No, I was just hearing horror stories, and I was just like, oh my God.
I know.
So I was oblivious, but I'm not anymore. I have a little better understanding.
Yeah. Well, I have to say Ramsey, what's his name? Dave Ramsey. Boy, he really opened my eyes to a lot of things. And I thought, he's doing the same thing that I tell people, but I took his words to heart. That's when I decided, I'm still looking at 7 years retirement. So what can I do within the 7 years to make it where I don't have to live like some of these people live that come to the senior center? They thank goodness there's a $4 meal because they can afford that. But these need to be done in this order in order to enjoy retirement. Because you're retired and your car breaks down, you're going, crap, I don't have a cushion there to pay for my car. And so retirement is, you want to make sure everything is, okay, do I have a reliable vehicle? Is my stove, my refrigerator, is all that up to par? Because once you retire, I mean, people can get a part-time job, and people are surprised when I tell them you can make $24,000 with your Social Security, which is not bad. That's not bad but if you physically can't do it, then that's the problem.
And the homestead thing too is
Yeah.
really, really commendable, because I've talked to a few seniors that
The one for the
these
homestead.
are my worries, you know, like we're gonna tax them out of their homes, and you found that for them, and then that's great.
The way the VITA uses Tax Slayer, and I don't like the homestead and Tax Slayer because I'm used to the IRS homestead. And you just put the information in there and it tells you because there's 3 different forms you can pick out, and Tax Slayer, I have to go in there and pick it, and then you don't know if it really takes it or not. So I do the homestead in a different. I don't use Tax Slayer for that because to me it's not user friendly. Or the other one, IRS, it automatically tells you. So, yep. Anything else?
Back to that mill levy question. I mean, I was under the understanding that mill levy, I shouldn't even call it a mill, it's a tax, it's a pot that this county has put aside to assist the Marion County Senior Centers with unexpected costs.
That is my understanding as well.
And I have an issue with that being used. I mean, insurance is not an unexpected cost. That should be factored into their annual budget right off the start.
And I have brought this up to the centers as well.
And I personally.
They vote on it, so, you know, it is a touchy situation, you know. If one center can afford to pay full coverage for their building, you know, the other one should be able to as well, but.
Isn't Peabody's downtown?
Yes, Peabody's, and they actually have 2 stories, and they pay full coverage. You know, as long as Peabody stays open, that's, you know, there is a little risk that we're gonna lose Peabody.
And each one of the centers has their own treasurer?
Yes, they do. And Marion's treasurer, she's very tight. So, she's the one that's fighting.
Maybe they ought to have a treasurer that covers all the senior centers and actually pay that person something to do it.
Yeah.
That way, you know, everybody be in the same.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now, did you guys get a notice from North Central Flint Hills that Dinah Richmond is no longer on the board? Okay, so we have to replace her. Doug Taylor is still on the board, but we're looking for somebody to replace Dinah.
Dinah's been on there forever. Dinah's been on there forever.
Yes, she has. She has been. And she's no longer, Peabody's got a whole new different board. So. Got it?
That's it.
Okay, thank you.
Keep up the good work.
You're usually getting in and out in 15 minutes, but I just had to hammer you with a bunch more stuff.
Okay. No worries. Okay, thank you. Yeah.
Okay, guess we skipped the county attorney. Moratorium, and we're glad to work on them some more. next week.
Both of those have gotten some input today that's helpful. One, I think the only real change that probably needs to occur, unless you think of something else on the best moratorium, would be to set those limits. And we kind of have discussed that previously, we just didn't have a number. If there's anything else after reviewing it that you want changed, let me know.
On the best moratorium, you left out determined to be necessary and appropriate for the welfare of Marion County residents. You left out the health and safety.
Okay.
On that one. On both those, I would recommend 2 years to start with. Let's see, 6, this is January. To expire January 1st of, not quite 2 years, January 1st of 2028.
It's gonna take us out of economic development.
What?
People aren't gonna look at us on the no-fly list. I'd rather have 6 months.
What is an adequate period of time to let planning and zoning look at that without saying, you gotta get these regs kicked out?
But the fair answer to that is asking them. I get different answers from different entities all the time on these. Whether, some will tell you that 2 years isn't even close to enough time for, depending upon how active they are. Others are like, well, we'll immerse ourselves in it because we meet 3 times a week. Well, that's pretty rare. And so they can do what others do in a year and a half or 2 years in 6 months. But given what I know,
I think 6 months is way too short a time.
yeah, I think given what I know and the speed at which they operate, plus they've got other normal,
I mean, that's just part of it.
day-to-day business for the county that they're being asked to do and review different applications or whatever else it may be.
It's ridiculous that they've gotta meet until 11:30 at night. Nobody can make a decision after 10 as far as I'm concerned. Most people are brain dead by then.
But, and I will say it again, on the moratorium, you have
We have the flexibility to change it 2 months from now.
lengthen it, whatever you want to do. So I'm never too hung up on the timeframe. Because you can always ask for reports from planning and zoning, what progress are you making, what have you done? So you have some idea of what's occurring, within it.
I was kind of just looking at the optics of it.
Yeah.
Somebody's reading down through a list of people who have available.
That's a valid point.
See Marion County.
There again, the city of Marion has an industrial park. There would, I'm sure, be more than willing to entertain a business coming in here. Same with the city of Hillsborough. I'm not sure what other incorporated cities have. I know Gossel has.
I don't think Peabody has any
You
industrial.
said these battery things would go out in the county, not industrial parks.
Why? They're better suited for industrial parks. They're industrial in nature.
Yeah, one of the things that they look for based on experience with several others, and the reason in one instance that it was only practical and feasible for them in town, because they thought it was a perfect situation, it didn't turn out to be, but you had their substation located right on the edge of the industrial park, so they had the land available and right there. They look to be, in most cases with the larger ones, positioned so that they are right next to or very near a substation. So now, as soon as that one didn't work, they began to look at in the county, because they have several of the substations located out in the county.
They're also looking for adequate infrastructure too.
Absolutely.
They don't wanna be on a dirt road.
Right.
As long as we can get the verbiage in there to cover rural electric, move forward.
I think we established what that would be, and I could put that in. I'll add the language on, you're right, I kind of stopped with welfare on that part of it. That was all encompassing, but usually I will use all three, for the obvious reason. So I'll put that back in. And then if you, whatever you guys want consensus wise in terms of term, 2 years, 1 year, 3 years, whatever it may be, 6 months.
Well, we heard the gentleman sitting there, our chances of somebody actually wanting to do something in the next 10 years are probably very slim.
Yeah.
But give planning and zoning enough time to do the work.
Pros and cons on everything, so I guess.
Yeah.
It's a whole lot easier to shorten it up than it is to lengthen it.
I think it should be less than a year.
I'm the scrivener, you guys tell me what you want.
Motion of that.
And
Well, I'd make a motion if
You wanna wait till it's wrote up?
Kinda, I'd like to wait till next week.
So I don't know that you need a motion, we just needed a consensus on time.
Unless you can't get consensus, then you force it by motion and vote.
You can leave it blank.
Yeah, I can leave it blank.
No, because we need to take up a vote
When it comes
eventually,
back to us.
so it needs to be in there, we need to take up a vote eventually, so, in my opinion. We need to have a timeline on it, so that way it's,
Should we just go in the middle of a year and a half?
18 months. If you want.
I'd make a motion that we put a year moratorium to start with,
From the date the resolution is signed.
till next week or whenever. Yes,
you're going with 1 year?
yes,
I'll second it.
discussion.
I thought we were just gonna have a
Consensus.
consensus.
Okay, consensus.
And again, I'm treating the motion as just for the term.
Okay,
It's not your actual moratorium
No,
resolution, that will
No,
come.
we're just voting on a term.
you were at where?
The middle of thing 2 and 1 was a year and a half.
Got 2, 2, and 1.
I'll go with 1,
I would prefer 1.
January 1st of 2027, which is a little less than 1.
no,
You
1
wanna go?
year from the day we sign it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Because that's not gonna be till.
Yeah, just keep it simple.
February.
No, with this consensus.
Oh, we're gonna, so you withdraw your
I'll
motion?
withdraw,
No, you did
I'll withdraw my motion.
I withdraw my second.
Sorry. Shoot the message, okay?
Sorry, Dave. Try to move it on.
Keep it moving.
Becky.
It's on the data center one. Trying to come up with either a power consumption or a size, physical size. And I know that most of the places that we kind of discussed and talked about would be less than an acre. I mean, so an acre would be a reasonable thing, but I'm not sure.
Keep getting
Well,
smaller.
no, who do we have out there that I'm not thinking of that may be an acre plus? It's that, so maybe a 5 acre is more of a reasonable, because you're gonna be talking about the real data centers, like the big AI centers, are gonna be a section of ground. They're gonna be 660 acres or bigger.
The only danger is as technology continues to progress, just like with these BESS systems and the improvements they make, is that they miniaturize a whole lot more stuff than they used to, and the size of those batteries keep getting smaller. So you can get to a point where even if in your moratorium term, that what you thought was, if you build it any smaller than that, they're, really not gonna be able to do much.
Just for the moratorium, period.
I guess I get back to my point, we're talking about the unincorporated portions of the county, these small businesses, these small entities have ample opportunity to,
You're talking about somebody coming in, I'm talking about ones that exist.
well, how many are in the county? They're all in the cities, right?
There's a few, Sprint used to have a few out and everywhere, I think they're owned by Brightspeed now. There's some out south,
That's,
east of Durham,
that is a, are they classified as a utility?
they are classified as a utility.
So
I don't know, they're not a utility, they're an
They-
internet provider.
but they're a utility.
I don't know if they
By
are.
definition, they're considered, they put their fiber optics in the road right away, just like any other utility.
That's true.
They get right of way permits from the county, just like any other utility.
Yeah, but these buildings aren't on the,
They're in private property next to the towers.
they're leased.
But I haven't researched that. I really haven't. And do that.
They're not big buildings, I mean, most of the time you don't even blink when you see one, you don't realize you just passed it.
Data center, you look at size and not.
I don't know. I don't know. That's one I need to have help with if I was gonna.
Paragraph.
I guess if we're concerned about internet providers and their quote computer functions that make that internet work, we put an exemption in there for data centers associated with public utilities.
You have to look at
I'm afraid that,
counties that have put in a moratorium to see how
I'm afraid that
they
lets
come
some
up with words.
loophole. Kinda like I said with them wanting to say anything for utility
Can you look at some
or
of those?
RDC
We already, actually, that was done.
could eventually make a loophole for somebody else to abuse that.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why I didn't like their language. I don't know. I don't know what to put in there, but for me, it's power, physical size. But those two things I'd like to have 1 week, or do we have to make a decision?
No,
All of that,
Brad can come back next week and
Okay.
that sounds like landscape that keeps changing too. When it comes to data
Well,
centers.
hopefully if,
A year from now might be a whole different definition.
if, like he said, if it gets smaller, it doesn't require as much power either. That's the scariest part of all these things, is the power consumption that they take.
when it started, meetings, all computers the size of Mike's desk.
Oh yeah, I remember the Tandy.
Now I can, we used an IBM 32, which was before that. Now I can run the whole business on this.
Yeah.
That's how they computerized everything.
I had a 5 1/4 floppy disk. I remember that.
Doing something
I did get to see one of the vacuum tube ones in a museum one time. I know. I think it's a building.
I worked on one in the Navy.
Some of Kitch's old computers was about at least in a 10 by 10 square area
We're gonna,
for just one unit.
Come back next week. I'm gonna check on the utility question, because I'd really like a firm answer that I can provide on that.
Yeah.
And then also, I'll try to pull a bunch of others, because they're out there. And see what we can do in terms of different limiting factors, or what language will work in that regard.
we talked about planning and zoning.
The resolution that was presented for your consideration was at the last meeting. It changes the process, and it also deals indirectly, but in a direct way, with the bylaws that are in place for planning and zoning. The resolution that you prepare and pass, if it's inconsistent, because they're advisory in nature, as planning and zoning on their bylaws, and that's how they were passed. They then need to pass them amend them consistent with what your direction is or your change is in your resolution. I asked Sharon, and matter of fact, she just volunteered it. She's perfectly fine with the reduction in size of that BZA to 5 because it's kind of unwieldy the larger it gets, and said the same thing actually about planning and zoning. And I asked her again, and she said, yep, I would support taking that one down as well, 5 or 7. 7, you start, okay, if each one of you appoints 1, then you gotta do the 2 at large. And we can still use the same parameters that have been established here or suggested, but you'd have 2 of them. Every time you add 1, it gets a little more complex. You have an odd number. Yeah.
So what if you have it at 5?
You could just keep it at 5.
And don't have it at large?
And then it's gonna go back to, it's 5, well, no, it isn't. It still is not required to be the same as, and we've talked about that. You can have other people that are appointed to it who are not members of your planning and zoning commission. Does simplify your process a lot.
I get where that whole thing comes from. They technically wouldn't have to be part of your planning and zoning, but I think we ought to sew that loophole up, because if I appoint somebody to planning and zoning, I can also repeal that appointment and put somebody else in there. Now, if you put somebody in PZA that isn't a part of PZ, now all of a sudden they got free reign to go to the district court with anything, and I really have no leverage to pull that person back and get them back in line.
You actually can. We would have to word it that way, so you're empowered. But the part that you're correct about, and that people sometimes don't realize until it actually happens, is that you hear a word of mouth, BZA met, and they gave a variance here that I think is absolutely abhorrent. I hate it, don't think it should have happened, and we as a commission are upset. I just sit here and do this, because at the point where that occurs, whoever chooses to be aggrieved by it in appeals, they don't come to you. They're quasi judicial on the BZA, so they're it. They serve in that role for you and the county. They are the final arbitrator of what happens. As far as the county is concerned, then it moves to district court.
Fall into that, in my mind, that dark government side of things.
Planning and zoning, every time it's advisory in nature, so it's gonna come here.
So what's the question?
Actually, I think that I've created an additional question that wasn't there. Whether you want to look at the size of the planning and zoning commission as well. You don't have to, you can leave it just the way it is. She mentioned it, and I told her I would mention it to you.
Until you said it just now, I had no intention of ever thinking of upsetting that apple cart.
I do understand the point, because, in terms of why it's simpler with a lesser number. Now, you don't have all the opinions, but you're gonna get them potentially solicited by people with strong opinions anyway who attend the meeting. But it is easier to organize a meeting, it is easier to it's like herding cats. And the more you put into planning and zoning commission in terms of numbers, the more challenging it can become. On the other side of that, I have a quorum to do business. If 2 or 3 of them are on vacation on a given month in summer, you got a problem.
Yeah.
So the lesser the number, the more difficult, more important it is that they're all participatory and attend each time, or at least most of the time.
I'm
Leaving the same.
leaning more to leaving it 11 on the PZ, on the planning and zoning, not the PZA. The PZA, I think, my opinion, I like the 5 idea.
Consensus with that? I'm in consensus with the 5 and 2.
I'm at 11.
Okay. And that's basically what's before you. So if you've reviewed it,
This one forward.
begin to look at it from an action point, or if you have other things you still wish to consider or review, or have other questions that I need to address in some way or go get additional information on for you, I'm happy to do that too.
I just had a question on that, where you can't serve for 3 years after you come on.
Right.
And I'm
The
thinking
way
if
it's
I
set up now, that's
if I
what's
had a good
worded in here.
person, you know, I'd tend to get back on as soon as possible.
Well,
Even though
the
it'd
issue,
be 3 more years.
so you're gonna leave that position vacant for a year?
No. I'm gonna
Well,
go
then-
ahead and fill it. But
So
I got 2 people, maybe the other one's coming on.
No, it's a different seat.
Huh?
It's a different seat. So if you got 2 people, they each have their own terms
I
and
know, but
limits.
you might get into soccer where you got one year and one the next year.
Oh, so you're saying your area seat could come
Right now,
off,
you each have 2.
Too.
and
What
then
he's saying
you're,
is since they're staggered, it might be that one comes off on year 1, another comes off on year 2.
So we're just lucky because we both start at the same time, so both ours come off together. But some year,
staggered.
you might have somebody resign, or report somebody. I don't know, I just hate to lock out a good person.
I understand the 3-year too, is because the intent is to go ahead and get that filled. I get
Yeah,
that
you go ahead and fill it.
right? So that means they wanna fill it and then give that person 3 years, at least give them 1 term before
You give
you
them 3 years.
pull somebody back. But I see it both ways. This is a different way of thinking I wasn't thinking of, so.
I mean, it will never work for me right now because both my people come off the same time. And to have one I think's a lot better than the other, I don't say I'm stuck with her, but my people are rotating together right now.
Yeah, let's not go down this rabbit hole.
I can't help much because both approaches are legal. It's a question of what you as pragmatically think is the best way you want to go. Either works.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine,
The 3 years,
that was my opinion.
for me, it gives it more urgency to fill the position. Like you said, you could be like, oh, well, it's not having.
I can't find anybody, Well, I can't find anybody, so 20 years, so I'm gonna put him back on.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to avoid. And
Oh, yeah,
You lit up a fire in somebody's, watch over here, you got online and started talking. Anyway, no, but I can see it that way too.
Yeah.
It's you
there, both of them.
you could be like, well, it's not that easy to find somebody, so I just kick it off for a year and then I got this other person come back.
On the other side of that, with this very industrious group of 5, I doubt that's ever going to be I can't find anybody, because you guys will take it seriously and go find someone. I'm kidding. You know, I mean, you've got a situation where it's how are you going to work to find someone?
Well, I can tell you when I first got on, I offered that about 10 people and they told me right where to stick it, so.
First 2 I asked said, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's good or bad.
Yeah, I don't know. That's so. But then lately it's been easier, so I don't know.
When I'm 80 years old and I'm still here, I'll know. Let's go.
Well, it says 3 years. And without a revision, we can take action, so I would just leave it at 3 years. And move that we adopt
Is it 08?
Resolution 2026-08.
second that.
More discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
5-0.
I still appreciate that different way of thinking.
I mean, trying to think outside the box. Got some done this.
Fishing.
Who? Oh, the note before?
Congratulations.
Oh, yeah.
You reported your fishing scheme.
Finally get over your sickness.
It was in the past.
Last time went about 10 days, and then it relapsed worse than the first time.
You fill in the date. I could have done it, but I've been able to read my writing, so.
No.
We have a consensus here.
He can keep all the notes he wants over here. I can't tell what he's writing down.
So, executive session today. Any other business?
Wind and solar.
Did you wanna talk about Kent?
Kent, wind and solar.
Asked about it, adding an item for wind and solar.
Sorry.
Where you live? We had the moratorium on.
Oh, we had a full year and then we extended it for a 4-year.
Right. But I mean, we've been more than a year into it.
I think on the extension.
And, you know, planning and zoning, I think, has spent a great deal of time on the regs and tried to get them, I don't know if they'll ever be right, but more acceptable, I guess, to the public. And, you know, I look at all they've done, and we've got 4 townships down in the southwest corner of the county that this is never going to fit demographically, population-wise, because it's got the highest rural population in the county, and there's no appetite for it. So why not go ahead and put a ban on those 4 townships? They do it in other counties. They do it for, you know, Reno County did it in the, on the zoned areas. So they're kind of all over the place. This is 4 counties, continuous, I mean, 4 contiguous townships. And it's just not a fit for that area. So why do we mess with a moratorium? Why don't we just go ahead and ban those 4 and move down the road?
If we ban those 4, can you add to those 4?
You mean in the future?
Yeah.
You drop the ban and make a new ban.
There's nothing that precludes that. The question becomes, and I get asked this, if, okay, we're gonna do it in 4, but we allowed it in all these others. And we had there's a compelling reason why we start talking about population density and other things. Does that, or can you find yourself in litigation over that because of the equitable inequity of how you do that? Yes. Am I saying that means you shouldn't do it? No. I'm just telling you because I've gotten that question and I've gotten it elsewhere as well. Does the ability for someone to sue you over that and keep it from, and survive summary judgment exist? Yes. It just depends upon, again, what they're gonna do at that point.
We could get sued over a moratorium.
Oh, yeah, you could get sued over anything, that's what I'm telling you, but so is there more of a likelihood of it going through? We've had that experience on several of these, and I, emailed you the.
Reno's counties was on population density only.
Yeah.
Only reason they gave.
So this would no way prohibit the update of the Article 27.
Well, the thing that people sue over is what's called arbitrary and capricious behavior by a governmental entity. Is it too arbitrary? Is it, well, we just did it in this one because we just don't want it there. Without justification in terms of compelling reasons. In this case, you do it on population density, you've got to immediate, that's gonna be your response. At that point, this is why we did it.
How many other townships were at that population threshold?
There was
The wind farm moved.
a lot.
A landowner sued because he wanted to be part of the wind farm, or part of it.
Again,
It'd be down
with the
the
same
road.
logic, and you're impeding my ability to utilize my property and the quiet enjoyment of it.
I liked your time on the phone, Brad, trying to answer my concerns with what I've been told, yet
Mike
need
has
some
the
legal
same question,
precedent.
and I think Clark, to some extent, in terms of the question you just asked, can allude to it. If we've got 4 that have a population density between this and this, and we've got 6 others in another part of the county where we don't ban that have that same thing, that's where someone comes in who wants to locate in those 4 and says, you didn't uniformly do this as a governmental entity. You were arbitrary in your approach and application. Again, I'm not arguing and advocating one way or the other, but the question comes in, can you get sued? Yeah.
What about if you did it geographically, like, so as far as proximity to the more urban developments?
If you can show significant harm in what's being done, like pollutants or, the turbines, I mean, we've litigated all kinds of things over the United States.
They leave their carbon footprint everywhere.
The visual for a lot of people is just intolerable. I mean, there's a number of different things you can say.
I mean, I just wondered if you based off of urban sprawl. I mean, it could be everywhere, actually.
They draw that line.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be townships, it would be.
I don't think I'm gonna
If
sue
they
the
look like a
federal
school
government for not allowing me to have one in my backyard.
You'd have to sue Kansas. That was the governor.
The national one?
The governor did the Flint Hills moratorium. Go ahead and sue, Laura, go ahead. Please.
Your orations.
I'm good with, adding to it though, I don't wanna make it to where it can't be added to. Now, we talked about not being able to take any action when we first bring something up, so.
Yeah. I know what this talking about,
The other thing that and I wanted to check with planning and zoning a bit, but the other way that I've found or we've used to, if you wanted to control it, but you want to do it without just getting into identifying those townships, is your overlay. You make it countywide and you just have certain areas where you say, as a planning matter, we're just not gonna put it in certain parts of the county.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're gonna ban it, we've got 2 wind farms, we don't need any more, let's ban any future wind farms in the entire county and be done with it.
And in a lot of ways, that's probably your best justification. We've already inundated our county with them and we don't wish to have any more.
Well, a question that was brought just this morning was alternative sites that they didn't use that were in the footprint.
Extensions of where they are, yeah.
And I don't think they'll do an extension without a certain number in order to have equipment.
And that one, if they're doing anything, it's gonna be in McPherson County. And they'll just keep going.
Dickinson County. They've already allowed them in Dickinson County, so they're going north.
And McPherson County's got a ban on them.
Yeah.
Dickinson County's the one that approved it 2-1 and
That's right.
it's already brought.
Person's man.
The first opposition in court failed to have enough merit.
They're happy about it.
I'll just throw it out here and see if it sticks. I'll make a motion directing county council to prepare a resolution banning any further wind and large-scale solar developments for the townships of Minnow, Liberty, East Branch, and West Branch, Marion County, Kansas.
I'll second that.
You beat me to it.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Nay? It's 4-1.
I still think we're,
You voted no.
I didn't hear it.
No,
Now I heard it.
thank you.
I still
Hire an
think
attorney now or wait?
that's arbitrary and we,
Yeah, we can improve upon it.
but we're not,
I don't have my map at the ready for the population density to keep it what he was saying.
Get that though, just so I know, am I gonna be able to do it? They may not be able to, I don't honestly
When
know.
did the census come out?
Yeah, oof. Let's see, the last one was 4 years ago, 5 years ago? Was it 2020?
It's probably around 2020.
So just so I make sure I understand correctly, what you're looking for me to do is bring back a resolution banning wind and large solar, and we'll have to make sure we define that appropriately. But only in Menno, Liberty, East Branch, and West Branch.
Correct.
Okay. All right.
My district covered. My district covered.
Anything else?
Brad, you have something else? Okay. We need a legal decision.
Oh, in terms of the discussion today, I intentionally haven't because I'm gonna listen to, I'll do it next week, if that's soon enough.
All right.
A couple of things I wanna check.
Any commissioners' comments?
I just want to comment on Mr. Mueller's comments. I am the president of No More Big Wind. We are a specific public benefit LLC, which our specific public benefit is educating people on wind energy development. Financially, we have about $150 in the bank. I have spent close to $5,000 of my own money furthering this effort. So I have no financial benefit from what I do. And I just want to make that plain. I disclosed all this when you can look at my disclosure when I submitted my application to run for county commission. I disclosed all that information. But I just wanted to make it clear to this board that that is our purpose. And it cost me a lot of money. I'm not making anything off of it, so.
Anything else? Thank
I
you.
guess as far as the training that Summer Road and Bridge are going to do here, I guess it's late April. I was thinking it was sooner than that. I asked permission from Steve and Tom to maybe attend that with them. Not to micromanage, but at least I would know what they're being told or taught. Maybe I can even learn something. But I want to make sure that that's not overseeing my bounds as a commissioner. What I was told maybe this morning was that initial in Wichita was maybe booked up already, so, which is a possibility that, whether I can attend just on the sideline, but one, it would be encouraging our participants to buckle down, try to learn something. I don't think I would interfere with the morale or anything else, but I want to make sure you got it okay if I would attempt to do this.
My only concern is that you would take away from some of the time, maybe learning the equipment or paying attention to the other teachers.
Just getting your feedback.
Yep. I see it as a benefit, especially for this board. If somebody like Mike, who has a real interest to be there. I'm not saying that I don't have an interest, I just, not like he does. He's done it before, he owns a grader still. And then he would be able to outside board report to us on the happenings. So I see it as a very valuable benefit. If it was.
I can get an opinion whether it was worth.
I don't see
It's $130 a head for the 2 sessions. I don't have a problem paying $130 a head myself for me, but at least I know what they've been showed, whether anybody will utilize that training to the best of its deal, and just Steve and Tom, what little bit I visited with them, thought it would be a good idea, so.
I think it's.
And I just want to make sure that I'm not upsetting anybody on the board by, and maybe the deal in Wichita will just, if the class is full, whether or not I can just sit on the sideline and not hardly be involved at all. I would like to see what they're being told, what they're being shown.
Not hiding in the crowd that wouldn't see you.
Just email me or whatever.
You'll give us a detailed
Yeah,
rundown.
I think it's a great idea as long as we get
We'll
informed
just
on
get
how.
it in, yeah. And hopefully that it's not, doesn't turn into, well, they get a free day off from doing anything here when we go down there.
Since it is, it's all right.
I didn't see anybody have a problem with it.
Appreciate you letting me do that if it works out.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
You want my document?
Yes, please.